you walk in that dealership today and you say, for instance, John Brown is dealing with you today, and then next month you go back for your service, and then Carrie Ann is dealing with you today, and then 3 months after you go for another service, and then Rachel is dealing with you. You're like, where have all the people gone? So I mean, it is what it is. But I'm always rooting for the parts department, right? And, but tell us a little bit more about your inventory control from experience working in parts when we're doing like stock taking, stock count. Well, what was that like?
Well, again, I mean, I'm not like an actual manager in accounting, so I don't know all of the intricate stuff, but like from my perspective with from accounting, a lot of it is like, okay, so like parts has like these like like this inventory that is coming in, they're allocating it, they're selling, and then what happens is like they're putting into stock and then they're also selling it at the same time.
Right.
Right, but like from accounting, it's like, okay, but like we have to pay the vendor, so the manufacturer that we're buying the parts from, like accounting has to pay the bill at the end of the day. So it's more of making sure that what we are about to pay reflects what like inventory that we have here and that we're potentially selling. Because usually like for inventory, which we recently just did, like accounting has to be on site just to make sure that like what accounting has, like, okay, these are the like the number of brakes and tires that we saw that we're kind of allocating for, we're about to pay the vendor this. Is that what we actually had here physically? And then is that what we're selling? If we're selling them, where are they going to? Right. Like, is it reflecting like kind of like the the profits that we're getting and the net that we're kind of receiving at the end of the day? And so a lot of it is that, I mean, like, so communicating with the parts department and like just kind of making sure that the invoices that they have the the bills of lading, where we receive those amounts, like that many tires, that many brakes, on this day, on this day, and like, does it reflect what we're about to pay, like those vendors, those tire hotel, like like the tire brands, or like the manufacturing kind of like OEM brands and stuff like that. So like it's fun. I mean, it's learning every day. Like sometimes, like if we say like accounting kind of like sees it this way, but then we don't see the physical inventory that's here. So maybe we might have received, let's say, 500 brakes that week, but then some of them were defective, and so now we're returning them. So of course, when we don't see, so that means we're not going to sell like that many number of brakes in the future, but like we don't have that many brakes in inventory. So, but then when are we going to get like kind of like the rebate or the refund for those defective parts that we received and now we're sending back? Right. And so like accounting, unless we know that there's something like that happening, we're just going to be like, why are we paying this like 500 brakes, but like, we don't have 500 brakes in inventory? Like what happened to them?
Right? There has to be a reconciliation.
And so like it's a lot of like kind of that. It's a lot of kind of like we only see this, but then like this kind of comes down the line, and like when you're just looking at numbers and accounts all the time, you don't really see kind of like the effect or the impact of it, kind of like from parts, let's say parts department or the accounting department. There's a lot of like trying to put the story together. It's a lot of like investigating, trying to put those stories together to be like, oh, okay, this is why, like, even though the invoice says 500, we only have 450. Like, right? And like, maybe we sold them already, right? And maybe they're already been spoken for, or they're defective and all that stuff.
You have to take into account the goods in transit as well. So
exactly. Each manager is different. Like, they want it this way, they kind of understand it in this way, and so, or another way. Like one manager will kind of understand it like in Excel like this, and then another one will be like, this is too much for me, I kind of like want to see this. And so I think it's being able to kind of adapt to and support the other departments that kind of way.
Because I know some dealerships, they have innovated so much that they allowed IT to come in and set up their systems that everything is done real time. So
Okay.
at the closing of the month, once you hit that button, all the reports are closed off, the accounts are closed
Yeah.
off, and then all you do is just go back and reconcile. Usually
Yeah.
between 3 days to a week, but
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
eventually get there. But
Yeah. I
my
mean, we're tracking towards, I think, 4 days now at the dealership that we're at. We're tracking at 4 days.
4 days, yeah, four
Yeah.
days isn't bad.
Yeah.
Anything under a week is
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, in the past, a week or even 10 days, I think, even like 10 days was like for the whole like full close
yeah,
was already kind of pushing it. But now, like now it's like 4 days, 3 days. I think I've heard they're trying to get down to one
one day,
day.
yeah.
Right. And so there's a lot of like compressing of
Hmm.
time, which means there's a lot of compressing of like computing and information, right? And I think that's being able to kind of like cut off the month, I think is another thing that I guess kind of like the other departments kind of have to be able to close their own months
Hmm.
so then accounting can like formally close
Yeah,
and reporting everything. So
yeah,
yeah. So it's
yeah.
it's a learning curve. Everyone's different and with even like new employees coming in, they like it's a constant kind of like stream of like training and adapting and like kind of like yeah, like it's a lot of training, cross training. It's a lot of like have like one being even being between like different dealerships or auto groups, things are done differently.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And so it's like a constant learning curve. You're on that curve. You're always on that curve.
Always on that curve. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You never get off the curve. Never too
Yeah.
old to learn as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my final question to you: with how should we prepare for a market that's constantly changing?
How do we prepare? I think it's to just be prepared for that change because it will
Yeah.
change. I think it's
Yes, it does. It does
yeah, like
because of COVID now.
mhm.
It actually surprised a lot of people. And one of the
Yeah.
things I always try to encourage, like former colleagues in the past, is have a defensive mechanism in place at all times. Because
Yeah.
once anything happens, either a natural disaster or an economic crash or something in the market, the auto industry is affected first
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
everything. But yeah, because
Yeah,
people stop
that's
buying
true.
cars, or
Yeah.
people keep their old car longer, or
Yeah.
the dealership wants this because they're so sales centric. They
Mhm.
once the numbers fall off, then they're in a panic mode. So I
It
mean,
is a frenzy. It's a frenzy. It's a panic, and it's a panic. I think across the industry. But I think the only thing to be prepared for, like because we can't see that far into the future, we can't see what's going to happen, like tomorrow.
yeah,
I think like the defense mechanism is just to be prepared that it will change, that there will
mhm,
be a change,
yeah,
and to be like to be prepared for to adapt, whatever it is, whatever adaptation that we're gonna have to do,
mhm,
um, to just to because it will never stay the same. I think in the past there was like things have happened and like the auto industry has been slow, but like now it's true. Like with COVID in itself is really an illness, but it really affected the auto industry. And
mhm,
I think in a way that I think no one's really thought of, no one's
right,
really saw before. And so I think learning from COVID and like the effects of it is I think being able to kind of be aware of other things happening in the world. So if it's a financial crisis, if it's like another health related thing, even though COVID is a health related thing, it affected the auto industry, right?
mm,
Even though I guess in the past maybe they thought, well, it won't affect us because it's not, like we're not in the medical field or we're not in the thing. But like, yes, but like I mean, transporting medicine and everything like that. I mean, they run on cars,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Trucks and like
yeah,
everything like that. And so, but I think it's just being aware and being kind of like informed of like kind of like the trends that are happening. So then we are ready, being open. Like I think being open to new ways of doing things. Like
yeah.
we have to be able to try or at least be open to the idea of trying new things. I think like that really helps.
Well, Doris, thank you very much for joining me. It has been a pleasure. And I'm sure that we all learned a lot from your
Yeah,
experiences.
I hope so.
And I look
Hinted a
forward to
lot.
doing a second interview, because we need to go into maybe the intricacies of, a little more of what you do, but no trade secrets, of course. But
Yeah. I mean, like, again, like I think because of the way I kind of came into the industry, I kind of like ended up a little bit everywhere.
yeah,
Like right now I'm in accounting, but I mean, who knows?
who knows? Yeah,
Who
who
knows?
knows? Chief accountant, financial controller next. So who knows?
Maybe, who knows, right? Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see in our 7 years,
Well, of course, of course. I remember everyone. We all met you here first, so
Yeah.
don't forget the little people.
Yeah. I'll chat. I'll stop in and chat.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, Doris, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This was exciting.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.